Explain. Alright guys, next one. mTor is everything. Remember, episode 1 was on satellite cells. Satellite cells are everything. Nitrogen is everything. mTor. mTor is the main worker, right? He's the enzyme that actually makes this whole thing happen. He's the one that synthesizes shit. That allows the cells to grow and build, synthesize protein, right? And I mentioned in a lot of my other videos. Why is mTor important? Because you take out mTor or you inhibit mTor, there's no growth, right? No matter what happens. He's the one that allows the satellite cells to move around. The whole protein synthesis process is really regulated by mTor, just an enzyme. It stands for mammalian target of rapamycin. You don't have to memorize that shit, just memorize mTor. Thank God for acronyms. Alright, how does he work? This is the cell, once again, the muscle cell. How does it work? Once again, remember, you do your bicep curl, you get a little micro tear, the satellite cells around the fucking cell go inside and proliferate at the site of injury, they multiply, differentiate into a myoblast, blah blah blah. The more nuclei you have, see, you go from 3 to like a whole bunch. Once again, I'm making up this number, and now the cell's allowed to grow. mTor is the manager, right? He's the executive motherfucker. He's in charge of all that shit. Now, what stimulates mTor, right? Because once again, once it's activated, you synthesize the protein, you're building muscle. If it's not activated, you're not building muscle. If even worse, you're breaking down muscle. So how do you activate this motherfucker, right? In fact, that's the guy that myostatin actually fucks with. Myostatin puts this motherfucker in check to stop you from getting bigger, every single day. So how do you get him to activate? 3 things are very important, right? 3 main factors. Number 1, amino acids, right? Once again, your body, I'm assuming you watch the one on nitrogen retention. Don't skip episodes because you're going to be fucking confused. I'm not going to go back and try to explain everything. Nitrogen retention, nitrogen is an amino acid. So before mTor helps synthesize muscle tissue, it needs the brakes, right? The amino acids are going to provide that. Boom, so that's check. Second thing it needs is obviously the growth factor. I'm just going to put hormones, right? That's your steroids, right? Testosterone, IGF-1, GH, all that bullshit, right? In fact, let's just focus on, matter of fact, don't worry about the hormones. Just know that the growth factors, right, especially testosterone and IGF-1, are needed to activate mTor. And you're going to get that from either your training or your stuff, if you know what I mean. Alright, so that's the second thing that's needed. I think also insulin. Anyway, hormones. And the last one is obviously energy levels, right? Now, mind you, all those 3 have to be there. You can't just have amino acids and none of these guys and expect mTor to be functional, right? You can't have just the growth factors and no nitrogen, no brakes, no capsule, right? And no energy, right? And you can't just have a lot of fucking energy, a lot of carbs and fat and ATP, and no amino acids or hormones. You need all 3 to be present. That's why they tell you train, eat, and sleep, right? You gotta have all those 3 factors, right? The energy is gonna come from obviously your carbs and fats and even protein. If you're not getting enough calories, then your protein is gonna be used. Your body's gonna get ATP from almost every fucking thing you eat. So energy is needed, amino acids needed, growth factors are needed, right? So when you hear me talk about mTor, he's the engine of the cell that synthesizes muscle tissue, and he needs all those 3 to be present. That's why I get a lot of messages, Megan, I'm not growing, my training is perfect. I'm like, how's your diet? 9 out of 10, it sucks ass. Some other people, well, I eat all my calories, I'm in a caloric surplus, but I'm not growing. Are you getting enough protein? Yeah. How's your training? 9 out of 10 times it sucks ass. So you gotta have all these 3 factors. Now, one important thing about the energy aspect of this is that mTor senses all these things, right? He makes sure, before he starts working, he goes, is my nitrogen here? Are my growth factors here? Is my energy here? That's the money supply. Once it's here, he can start paying the workers or whatever, blah, blah, blah. If he's not getting enough energy, once again, like I said, if this is missing, his opposite is going to start activating. And that's AMPK. I don't want to go into that, It stands for, what was it? AMPK synthase. I forgot. It's some complicated shit. I like memorizing just the abbreviation because it's easy to remember. But if you don't have enough carbs or enough ATP, whatever in your system, the opposite is going to happen. Meaning you're going to start breaking down protein instead of synthesizing it. But we're going to mention that in a whole separate video. Right now, just focus on mTor. Another thing you have to understand about mTor is, I made a video about that. Once again, this is all a review, is the more you train, when you start training, mTor, your engine is raving, it's just synthesizing proteins, right? The longer you've been training without breaks, right? Say you've been training for a long fucking time and you never took like at least a week off or whatever, which is so hard to do. If you're a gym addict like me, eventually mTor gets weaker and weaker and weaker, just like a normal car engine eventually does that, right? And they've done many experiments to, to actually prove that. after long periods of training, right, without taking a break, mTOR eventually becomes weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. And the best way to reset that is not to just deload, it's to just stop fucking training. And read about it. Once again, it's very hard, but once you do it, it works. Once you do it, it works. Trust me. Me and Marco tried it. Me and Hansa did it. We all did it. It was very, very painful to just sit home after work and not go to the gym to, you know, fucking get all that stress out of your system. But when you do go back to the gym, you grow not only faster, but bigger. And it works every single time. So we try to schedule D-training sessions every 6 weeks or so. 10 to 12 days. So keep that in mind, alright? Next.
Yo, come on, son. That's just a very lazy person. I still am. And I believe that lazy people have the most potential out of every human being on the planet. In fact, the reason why we're so lazy is because we believe it or not,